That moves us on to number 10 on our agenda, approval of the minutes of the October 7th, 2024 board meeting. Do I have a motion? Mr. Hogan?
I'd like to make a motion the board approve the minutes of the October 7th, 2024 board meeting.
Do I have a second? Ms. Snipes seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? That motion carries 6-0. And that moves us to public participation. Before Ms. Taylor reads people that have signed up for public participation, I'd just like to say that the board welcomes and encourages public participation. We respectfully ask that you adhere to the procedures provided in Board Policy BEDH, public participation at meetings. Your comments should be limited to 3 minutes and must remain on either the topic noted on your sign-in form or a listed agenda item. Questions asked during public participation will be handled in accordance with Board Policy BEDH. Ms. Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Marcia Lee is here to speak about school violence.
Can you hear me? Okay. Good evening. Thank you for having me here today. I'm here to advocate for my third grade son, Finley, who was assaulted by a gang of students at Piney Woods Elementary School on October 9th. During this attack, he was pushed by 2 different students, then brutally kneed in his testicles twice, and kicked to his ribs 4 times by the main perpetrator, all of which was witnessed by parents in car rider line, caught on video camera, and documented in a police report. The assault on my child proceeded for 2 minutes before one of the 2 supervising teachers responded. When this was reported to me, it was minimally conveyed that my child got kneed in the groin in a scuffle at recess. The lack of disclosure of his injuries misled me to not pursue necessary medical treatment for my child at that time. Preceding the attack at recess on October 9th in the cafeteria, the other child grabbed my child by his neck in a submissive hold and squeezed him around his neck for approximately 8 seconds. This assault was viewed via video and also written in a police report. In the video, you can see the teachers sitting at a circular table in the middle of the cafeteria talking amongst each other and not supervising the children. On September 3rd, Finley was intentionally kicked by this other child, causing him to flip backwards, land on his back, and hit the back of his head on the concrete floor. Finley told his teacher another child kicked him, causing him to fall and hit his head, and she sent him to the nurse. The incident was falsely documented as an accidental fall. When I asked Finley where the teacher was at the time, he stated she turned on music for us to dance and was in her office, again neglectfully not supervising the children. Finley has reported to me that this child has been bullying him since the 2nd week of the start of the school year. He said he threatened to hurt him in a soccer game by slide tackling him and slide tackles him repeatedly on the concrete at recess. He also shared with me that this child continuously tells him to go away and he doesn't want to play with him with his new mutual friends when at recess. None of the students involved in the assaults on my son have received any disciplinary action. The school told me they would maintain no contact between the main perpetrator and my child and place the other child in a different class. However, I observed my child's day at school and there is no possible way to ensure no contact. After explaining this to the principal and letting her know what opportunities existed and expressing my lack of confidence that they can continue to uphold their plan, there were no changes made to these operations until 5 days later. In addition, the other child was permitted to attend a field trip where I witnessed no lack of supervision and lack of effort to keep their word to keep them separated from my child. Recently, on October 23rd, the other 2 children who initiated the assault on my child were poking him in his spine very hard in the cafeteria, again not supervised or witnessed by the teachers, but caught on camera. My child asked them to stop, but they continued to poke him harder and harder. The following day, this was reported to the principal, who told me she did watch this on the video, interviewed the other students, and said they were just playing and tapping him on his back. I do have one more sentence. Can I finish?
Written statement, you could hand it to Ms. White.
We're going to make a quick technical adjustment.
Okay.
Really quick. Jeremy Lee is here to speak about school violence.
I'm the father of Finley Lee. I would like to yield my time to my wife.
Okay, I'll allow it.
In conclusion of all these events, they have been minimized and swept under the rug by the district administration and staff at Piney Woods Elementary. Following reporting these concerns to the district office, there were numerous accounts of retaliation from the administration and teaching staff on my son. I have pleaded appealing the principal's lack of consequence to district officials with no resolution according to the code of conduct and the many offenses shared with you. This child should be removed from the school so that my child can be safe, emotionally, and mentally healthy. While seeking to understand why these children had not received any disciplinary action for these offenses, the principal reported that she could not do anything further as it was his first offense and it goes against the school's code of conduct. Upon hearing this, we did investigate the code of conduct and asked for an appeal of action because, as previously shared, this child has had multiple offenses that demonstrated a pattern of violent behavior, were neglected by staff, not documented, falsely documented and covered up. Listed below are the other children's offenses per the code of conduct. A level 3 offense, active participation in mob violence, mob being 2 or more people. Disciplinary action, first offense 3 days out of school suspension. Second offense 5 days out of school suspension, recommended for expulsion. Third offense recommended for expulsion. Level 2 offenses committed against my child, threatening, bullying, intimidating a student, physical assault of a student. Note in elementary children, principal determines if physical assault occurs. Planning, organizing, instigating, and or participating in an activity that causes substantial disruption to the educational program. Any other behavior that threatens the safety of students or disrupts the operations or functions of the school. Note, a series of repeated infractions may result in recommendation of expulsion. After hearing from the Code of Conduct, please take a moment to recall the offenses of bullying and multiple assaults on my child. Please ask yourselves, was no punishment for the perpetrating students according to the Code of Conduct? Also, please help me understand why an assault on a staff member is a level 3 offense and assault on a student is only a level 2 offense. This is wrong and should be revised to both assaults on staff and students to be considered a level 3 offense. Also, principals should not determine what physical assault is. This should be determined by the school resource officer. We cannot allow this kind of violence to continue to be tolerated in our schools. The retaliation for our child and our family has received from the school staff and community for advocating for justice for Finley needs to stop immediately. He will not be forced to leave his school and attend a different school, as so many other victims have been forced to do so by the lack of victim support. Thank you.
Michelle Zeal is here to speak about potential rezoning.
Ms. Taylor, do you mind saying her name again?
Yes, Michelle Zeal.
Thank you. I am grateful to District 5 for many reasons, especially to the many teachers who have taught our 5 children over the years. As I prepare for the vote on November 5th, first of all, me and other parents would like to know which school board members and candidates are willing to leave the District 5 zoning lines as they exist today, regardless of the bond referendum outcome. Parents choose to buy property specifically to send their children to particular schools. The school board voted in favor of School District 5's suggested rezoning, which will become the default if the bond does not pass. This move vetoed parents' power to choose for their students and their children. I live in the Chapin cluster, and my children will be affected by the rezoning. I am trying to make sense of it because several neighborhoods that have always been zoned for the Chapin cluster have been removed, and neighborhoods who have never been zoned for the Chapin cluster and are now in it if the bond doesn't pass. it seems like a wash. I asked the board to consider leaving the existing school zoning lines as is, regardless of the outcome of the bond referendum. When I look at the 180-day head counts in the Chapin cluster from the last 12 years on the South Carolina Department of Education website, I don't see any compelling reasons for all of the suggested rezonings. The Chapin cluster elementary enrollments are trending downward. Enrollment at Spring Hill High School is trending downward, and there is a negligible growth of less than 1% at Chapin High School. The largest enrollments of the Chapin cluster are grades 5 through 8. However, these enrollments are split between Chapin High School and Spring Hill High School, which has plenty of reserve capacity, it seems. Its enrollment is 2/3 of the enrollment of Chapin High School and Dutch Fork High School, And once the Academy for Success is moved, it will have even more room. The enrollments in the K through 4 of the Chapin cluster fall significantly when compared to the other grades. So, though I don't see a compelling reason for growth or a compelling case for growth in the Chapin cluster, if there were, small adjustments would be sufficient to accommodate these, like removing the 336 exempted students in the Chapin cluster, or adding a wing where necessary. Giant, erratic rezonings are not good solutions, are unnecessary, and will disrupt the lives of many, many students and their families, including mine. So, thank you.
Paul Zeal is here to speak about potential rezoning.
Thank you. I just have 3 points. I have seen no data to suggest that enrollments at Chapin High will increase. This aligns with national trends in the birth rate. Enrollments at feeder schools to Chapin High are decreasing. This also aligns with national trends in birth rate. In the unlikely event that enrollment did increase, wings could easily be added to the schools affected, a much more cost-effective solution. Conclusion: erratic rezonings are disruptive. Consider leaving the zones as they are. Thank you.
Kim Murphy is here to speak about the bond referendum.
Good evening. Well, I wasn't going to speak tonight, but I thought I would take the opportunity to plead with you. We've got to get the public behind the school district. You're losing us. You must know that by now I care about our district. I've been doing this for 22 years. I don't really like it, but I care about our school district. That care includes the school system and the communities within its boundaries. I obviously care that children get a good education, and I want teachers to be paid and recognized for the critical job they have in educating them. And I need them to be, you need them to be, we need them to be happy and energetic doing so. I also support the staff who backs them up. And you, Dr. Ross, as I've mentioned to you in the past, I want you to grow old and gray here. I also care about the parents who have to trust you doing the job, and the taxpayers who, like the teachers and the district staff, must also be happy in supporting the school system. If they aren't, if you don't have their support as you essentially write checks out of their checkbooks, we can't be as successful in educating our children as we need to be. You must garner their support, form decisions in public, not in a vacuum, and you must give them the truth, not half-truths. I deal with facts, and the public must have them if you want their support, not just some of them. Although the superintendent may have fantastic ideas based on his educational experience and make solid financial recommendations with the staff that has helped form these, It's imperative that as elected officials, elected by the citizens to oversee it and guide it for the success of your mission, that you do your homework and you understand what it is that you're voting on. Our opinions may be different, but I believe that you are also supportive of the education of our children and that we likely agree on many things. Please be more transparent. Show us how you make your decisions. Gain our support. We need it. However, that was just my opinion. I do deal with facts, but I hope you share in that opinion. No matter what happens with the bond referendum and the school board election on November 5th, I'm hopeful we can start doing a better job of keeping the focus where it needs to be and working together. Thank you.
Derek Hines is here to speak about gratitude.
Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Ross, Executive Administration, Madam Chair. Several years ago, there were numerous conversations about what could and needed to be done to make what would seem like a difference for our children, children across our school district, and the decision was made to run for school board. Not made lightly, many nights, many conversations, many prayers, many of those prayers being answered. But one thing stands out to me, and that is how thankful I am for the model and example you've been for our children, and hopefully for others' children across this district. It has been the greatest privilege of my life to watch and work with you as you have navigated this, and to see you grow as a person, as a servant and a leader, but most importantly, a mother. Years ago as well, when I graduated high school, my then athletic director, who has since passed away, before he did so, also served on the school board in Spartanburg County School District 6, Coach Dale Evans, gave me a poem that I've kept in my wallet ever since I graduated. And it reminds me daily when I have an opportunity to open my wallet and pay what little money I have for bills, life of a public servant, that what we do is tantamount to who we are and who we want to be. And Dr. Ross may be familiar with this, from Coach Evans in the coaching world, but it's called stick to the task. Stick to the task until it sticks to you. Beginners are many, enders are few. Honor and praise always goes to the one who stays. Stick to the task until it sticks to you. Bend with it, sweat with it, smile with it too. For out of the bend, the sweat and the smile will come life's victories after a while. Congratulations. Job well done. Your work's not finished. Keep it up.
Okay, you're in my good graces, Derek. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. So that concludes public participation.